This is 5 Minute Feng Shui, podcast episode 170, Career Building Office Feng Shui. Welcome to the 5 Minute Feng Shui podcast, where each week I talk about how to move energy and make money. You'll learn how to create a prosperous home and an abundant life using classical Chinese Feng Shui. I'm your host, Katie Weber, publisher of the Red Lotus Letter, Feng Shui Easing for Wealth. Each week, I'll cover Feng Shui topics that can help you improve your life, share inspiring stories, and always end with 3 easy-to-implement Feng Shui tips that you can put to work right away, and usually in about 5 minutes. Now let's get started on the 5 minutes that could change your life. Hello, my Feng Shui friend. I am talking to you today from my office, and that's what we're going to be talking about, offices. Because the way you work and the environment that you work in influences your ability to work effectively, be productive, be profitable, and climb the career ladder if that's what you're looking to do. And most of us are, because when we climb the career ladder, whether we're an entrepreneur or we're working for a company, it lifts us up financially. It moves us forward in life. And you know, this is really what life is about, right? In your job and your career is moving forward, feeling like you're making progress. And if you haven't been making progress and you haven't been moving along as quickly as you'd like, today's episode is for you, because we are talking all about the office and what a difference it can make when you have an office that's really, truly supportive. Now, when we're thinking about career and Feng Shui, this is one of the areas of our life that is it brings us income, right? This is our bread and butter. So this makes it really important that we pay close attention to our office, that we spend many times more time in than anywhere else in our home. And having that daily interaction with your space that is going to help you succeed and is going to show you in your best light and create the kind of office environment that says success, and that you see that financially, you see that in those promotions. This is what today's episode is about. So if you feel like you've been stuck in your career, maybe you feel like you lack the recognition that you deserve, or maybe you feel unfulfilled, the time that you spend in your office will, drag on for what seems like an eternity. And there is no misery like 9-to-5 misery. So that's why it pays to make the most of your office, so it can pay for you, right? Pay off in career building, more money, all that good stuff. Because yes, paying attention to your office can offer rich dividends for your career. You will notice many times that once you start making these changes and corrections and enhancements in your office, you feel differently in it. And you may even enjoy your time in your office more. Now, it is a Sunday afternoon, and I am recording this podcast in my home office, which I love. And it is something that I have been extra busy of late, both personal and business. So the wheels are always going, and I wanted to make sure that this week's episode got out to you. But I'm in my office, and everything that I'm talking about today is what I do in my own office. So I want to assure you that I walk my talk. I have my office arranged just the way I'm going to be talking with you about today. But what's more? Well, let's talk about when people come to your office, and if you work in a business, or even if no one comes to your office. Like for me, I never have clients in my office. My office is beautifully set up, though, that I could have clients and feel very proud of the design and the look. It's not haphazard. There's not a card table in a corner, that kind of thing. It's a beautiful room that I enjoy spending time in, and that makes a big difference. But let's say you have an office or a cubicle and you work in a business where people come in and out of your space. When they come into your space, your coworkers, your supervisors, anyone at your company, they're going to see what your surroundings are like, and they're going to make an assessment of you based on that. So we always want to project and put out that feeling of success, that look of success, And you can do it in ways that are not obvious. You don't have to have every accolade printed up and put on a wall, although that is a very good idea. It never hurts. I mean, when you go into a doctor's office, they have the big cherry wood desk and they have all the gold frame diplomas on the back of the wall. It's impressive. It is. But you don't necessarily have to have that. But what I want to talk about is also there's ways that you can arrange your office and that you can make an impression visually in ways that people may not always outwardly recognize. So, like for instance, I was talking about the cherry wood desk and all the diplomas on the wall. It's the way that you are arranged in your space. You're not cramped over in one little corner, for instance, or maybe you have certain items placed around your office and it has an air of I'm in command, I'm in control. And this is what we want to project. And we want to project that not just to everybody who comes into your office, but you who works in that office. So think about that. Let's think about that doctor's office. When you have that interaction with anyone of a professional nature and you see all those diplomas up on the wall, or maybe you see pictures of them shaking hands or getting an award, shaking hands with the governor or the mayor or something like that, it makes an impression on you. So whenever you have an opportunity to display things that you've done, accomplishments, accolades, awards, certificates, get those framed, put them up on the wall. It's really important because it sets an expectation about you. It visually tells somebody you're great without you having to, because that is when the things in the surroundings speak for you. That's a big difference in terms of the person that you work with at the office always pounding their chest. I'm so great. I did such a great job. Whereas if you can actually show that because you got an award as Employee of the Month 4 months or something, or you got any kind of an accolade or a letter of thanks from the president of your company, those things go up on the wall and it makes an impression on people and they will treat you more seriously. Let's talk about an office that really promotes the success for you. And this is important for looking at your office as a symbol of you and where you want to be in your life in terms of success, career, and recognition, prestige, that kind of thing. So let's talk about a few things that are important that you have going on in your office. The first thing I want to talk about is something that you may not always recognize, and that's called a poison arrow. And these are areas where you have points that are aimed at you, particularly when it's at your back. Now let me give you a good example. So for instance, if you've got a bookshelf that's behind you or to a side or something, and there it has a harsh corner, or you have a wall that comes to a point and it's at your back, or where you sit at your desk, it's pointed at you. If you can find a corner or a sharp edge that is aimed at you, if you were to put a string or draw a line from that corner to you at your desk, it's actually working against you. It is going to create difficulty for you getting ahead. And it can also, especially if it's at your back, create backstabbing and gossip, politicking at work. Nobody needs that. So just make sure that there are no edges of a desk or a filing cabinet, bookshelf that is pointed at you. Another thing that we never want to do is make sure that we are in a direct line with a door. So we never want to line our desk up with the door or opening to the room, because it's too much rushing energy at you. We want to be off to the side. The same thing is true if you have a window directly at your back. It's a lot of rushing energy. So look around, make sure you don't have any of those alignments, make sure you don't have any of those harsh edges. The other thing that we want to talk about is being clean, because dust accumulates, especially if you work on computers, which who doesn't? Who works today and doesn't work on a computer? We all do. But that magnetic energy, that static electric energy gathers dust. So when you have a dusty, dirty, or grimy office, it just collects negative energy. If you're one of those that has a coffee ring on your desk, you got to get that cleaned up and get a coaster. Make sure that you take time to regularly straighten and clean your office, and keep garbage cans small so that you regularly empty them. Don't get a great big garbage can that has all kinds and it's rammed to the top with with all the recycling or the takeout wrappers, that kind of stuff. And the other thing is you never want to dispose of food in your office. Always take it to the kitchen or take it outside of your office, because that rotting food or the smell of food or having that kind of energy around your office is a very negative thing, and we don't want that. So if you eat at your desk, and I do sometimes eat at my desk, yes, I do. There are occasions when it has to happen. And I make sure that I take all of my food and items away from my office. I'll even just set them outside of my office so that once it's done, it's done. But it's not often that I do. But that's just how it is. Sometimes it has to be happen. Let's talk about having an activated office. Now, a dull office makes a dull career. Your office needs to be bright. Keep lights on. Open the windows or blinds, and it should have some life in it. Maybe you've got a plant, an aquarium, even a little small fish aquarium, betta fish or something like that. It should have some movement. Have some kind of, maybe a little fan, some music playing, something like that, so that it seems alive. And maybe it gushes about you with those pictures, the clippings, certificates, diplomas, all those kinds of things that are all about you, that you can put up and make your brag wall without you having to brag on yourself. It's a nice way to activate your office and to help it activate your career for a sparkling career. So let's talk about that office, what you need to do. I'm going to give you some fast and furious tips here on items that you can do, things you can do in your office that will make a difference in your career. So let's talk about one of the important areas is, so it's important that you sit in the lucky corner. And it doesn't necessarily mean the corner. I never want you to ever be in a corner where you're pushed up and into a corner, because that's a defensive position. But I'm talking about that you are diagonal to the door, that you can see the door. It's not directly in front of you, but it's ahead of you so that you can see it. You never want to have a door behind you. Now, I know, please don't write me or call me or email me about I'm in a cubicle and I can't do anything about it. Well, I'm talking about, standard offices. This is not a cubicle discussion, but if you have a cubicle, do your best to turn your computer monitor so that you don't have to have your back absolutely to the opening. That's never a good idea. But you always want to have your desk to be at a place where you can see the door ahead of you. Okay. The other thing we can do is look at water. Water in front of you means money coming to you and flowing to you. This is one of the things that we talk about in Feng Shui, and how important water is in your landscape, and how auspicious it is when you have a home and it has a beautiful fountain in front of it, much like when you go to Las Vegas. So many places, you go to casinos and they have beautiful fountains always at the front. Fountains represent wealth and money. And if you want to have more wealth and money in your business, put some water in front of you. A picture of a waterfall, a pretty river scene, something like that is perfectly fine. A fountain, even a picture of a fountain. If you want to add a little bit more advancement in money, add a real fountain. A little tabletop fountain can make a difference. Just don't get it with disappearing water, and make sure that it actually can hold maybe a gallon of water, something like that. Those little teeny tiny things that only maybe hold 8 ounces of water are not going to do anything. They're going to get teeny tiny money, and we want bigger money. So I would rather go with a nice pretty symbol of a beautiful waterfall, river, ocean, something like that. To me, that is, I think, is more impressive, and you don't have to maintain them too, because nobody wants to have a fountain that goes dry over the weekend, because your career could go dry. We don't want that to happen. It's also important that you always have, this is something that you don't hear very often about. It's called having that bright hall. It's the open space in front of your desk. Very important your desk is not pushed up against a wall. Again, cubicles, I totally understand what you're dealing with, but we're back to the desk. It's really important. If you have a desk, put it out in the room, particularly for you home office workers. I know you don't like the cords and all that kind of thing, but there's a nifty thing that you can get at any office supply store, and it's called a cord cover. And I have them. I have one on each side of my desk, and I run the cords next to my desk, and I have a cord cover over it, so I know there's no wires and cords that are coming across that I have to worry about or trip on, or visual clutter, that kind of thing. So it's a super easy thing to do. But what's important is that you have this open space in front of you. Let's talk about why that is. Because open space in front of your desk means that opportunities can flow and gather in front and come to you. So this is why we will always want to have, whether it's our desk or our home, we want to have a little open space in front of it. And that allows chi or money to flow and come and flow easily to you. So make sure that you keep the front of the desk as clear and open as you can. I understand you may have a monitor, maybe just keep some portion of your desk clear. Even if you have a monitor, maybe you can move it to one side or the other, something like that. Just have some clear space at the front of your desk and literally in the front of it. Now let's talk about, one last thing about that is don't stack files and papers directly in front of you. In fact, if you have to stack papers at all, it's always better to stack them behind you. When you do, your work is supporting you. When you stack files and work to do that you have to get done ahead of you, it remains or seems like symbolizes an obstacle. And so we never want to do that. And that's the same thing that when you push your desk up against a wall, you are literally 2 feet or 18 inches, however, depending on your desk, that you're only 2 feet from the wall and you're looking at a wall. You're facing a wall. When someone's facing a wall, what does that symbolize? No opportunity, nowhere to go, stuck. And we never want to have that portrayed visually in your office. So important to keep open space in front of your desk and not be facing a wall because it's just an obstacle. Now let's talk about where that wall does need to be, and that's at your back. It's always important to have a solid wall at your back as much as you can. Sometimes it's kind of hard to do the way the office is arranged. If you have a window at your back, make sure you keep the blinds closed all the time. Maybe put up a tabletop screen. If you have a credenza behind you, create a false wall if you have to. But that's important that you do that because this is about support and the feeling that you're not just going in alone, that management supports you, that you're part of a team, and you've got good, solid support. Now let's talk about recognition because this is key. If you want to climb the ladder of success, you want to move up in your career, it's important that you have images of success. This is letters of commendation, awards, kind of like what we had talked about a little bit earlier. Make sure that you add something in your office that says, hey, I've arrived, I've achieved, this is important that I've done. So for me, I've got award letters, I've got thank you letters, I have plaques, my college diploma, my high school diploma. I have covers of magazines and clippings of news articles, and it makes a difference to see that. And when people come into my office, which isn't very often, they look at that and it says something to them. It says, hey, this person is going somewhere, has been somewhere, and nothing like builds success like success. So that's so important that you have that bit of recognition. You can even put places that you've traveled to or exciting things that you've done in your life. There's nothing wrong with that. So get that recognition chi going and create a brag wall for yourself. Why not? I think it's great. Let's talk about important people. Important people are the people who can help move you ahead. These are mentors. These are high-placed executives. These are people with influence that can help you. We call them helpful people, but in your business setting and in your career, we're talking about people of authority and position that can help give you a hand up. And one of the ways that you can activate that energy is by adding some kind of metal in the northwest corner, or adding some, or even if you have just a little fan, maybe you have a little pendulum clock somewhere. I don't like those big giant clocks everywhere. Please don't put that in your office. Do not have a big giant clock in your office. But you can have a small pendulum, desk clock. I like the idea because it's constant movement. And the other thing is it stimulates the heaven energy that brings people of importance to, and it brings you to their attention. And this is a perfect place to put them is in the northwest corner of your office, and to have people come to your aid, help you in your career, and give you recognition. It's the who you know corner of your office, and it's vital that you connect with it and you activate it. The other thing is, if you have an option, try not to sit near a restroom if you can do it, or a bathroom if you're at home. Now, sometimes we can't choose where where our bathroom is, and that's one of the things that we all have to manage in our own situations. For instance, in my own office, I have a closet and a bathroom because I work out of a bedroom upstairs in my home, and the closet and bathroom are to my right, but I always keep both doors closed, because then they look like a solid wall, and that's important. So if it's possible that you can move away from a bathroom, do so. Always being aware that it's most important, though, that you always have that wall behind you. Now, if you are in your office and you're in an office building, for instance, and if there's a restroom or a toilet that's above you, or a restroom behind the wall of your desk, or if you hear a bathroom, like commodes flushing all the time, this can put your career in the toilet, and we don't want that. Maybe see if you can move your office if you can. And just what's important is you never want to view the restroom. You wouldn't want to view the toilet or view the bathroom if it's in your house. So for instance, I'm perpendicular to my bathroom, so I don't actually look at it. And that helps quite a bit. So do what you can to keep away from bathroom areas in your home or in your office, again, because we don't want your career in the toilet, without a doubt. The other thing that we can do in terms of adding energy is to add pictures of ships. Ships are a great symbol of commerce and of business, because ships went all around the world to fill themselves up and then sail back and sell those wares. And so ships became a great way of using business and creating commerce and trade. And when you have a ship that looks like it's sailing into your office, it represents wealth arriving, and it's an especially powerful career enhancer. So put a picture of a ship in your office by the door, and this is also another way to put water in front of you. We talked about just a little bit ago, and make sure that the ship doesn't look like it's, in rough seas or the sails are down. You want to have like a fully engaged, beautiful looking ship. Maybe even a sailboat is perfectly fine. And you want to make sure that it looks like it's sailing into your office, because that represents money, opportunity, and prestige and success sailing in. So important. Let's talk about the front door. Now, I know we talk a lot about the front door of your home, but let's talk about the front door of your office. Many employees enter the building where they work through a rear door, and I think that this can sometimes give you the rear treatment. Instead, see yourself as an important person in the company and always enter through the front door of your office. Likewise, enter the front door of your home as often as you can, and this helps to double your career and luck opportunities. Now, I worked in a conference or a business park where we had a back door office that we could enter through, and it was not too far away from the main office entrance at the company where I was working. And I always made a point to walk up the big sidewalk, walk into the big doors, and walked through the doors of the company that I worked for like I owned the place. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that, because that energy it will come out, and people will look at you differently if you open the door and you strut on in there like you own the place. So I think it's great feng shui, and it brings you more opportunity and opportunity chi, and that is what helps you move up in your career. Now, let's get a little personal. Let's talk about your career colors. one of the best things that you can do in terms of career is to wear lucky colors, and you can select those by using your personal feng shui. And if you are going to an interview or you're attending an important business event or a meeting, let's talk about some of the colors that are especially auspicious. Now, if you're a Qua number 1, the blue and black colors are going to be really helpful for you. If you're Qua 2, 5, or 8, beige, yellow, taupe, and tan are your success colors. If you're Qua number 3, brown is your color, and Qua 4 people should wear green. Qua 6 and 7 would be very auspicious to wear any kind of white, pearl, off-white, and like ivory kind of color. You can also wear gray as well. And Qua 9 people should wear red. These colors are all the colors that are harmonized with your Qua numbers and the element that makes you up. So that's very auspicious. And if you want to get really deep into that, you can wear the color that makes you. So for instance, I'm a Qua 4, which is a green color. And the color that makes me is, because green is represented by wood, green is made, or wood is made by water, right? We make plants and trees grow by adding water to them. So I could wear a blue or a black color, but black and green. Here is a super success color, black and green. Very powerful for big growth. And in fact, if you are a listener of mine and maybe in my private Feng Shui group, you may recognize those colors as the colors that you wrap around the flutes of the Grant Your Wish red folder technique. That's because it's big change and big growth. So if you are an East person in your Qua number, black and green is a power combination in career. All right, now let's talk about 3 tips to leave you with that are so important for you in terms of your career that are going to kind of summarize all that we've talked about today. Number 1, support is essential. Make sure that you have a solid wall behind you, open space in the front, and a good supportive chair, a great chair. In fact, if you can get a nice tall chair with good support behind you, all the better. Get yourself a really nice, good, comfortable work chair. Have a nice solid wall behind you. Tip number 2, activate the lucky corner of your office. Now let's think about that. I was talking about sitting in the lucky corner, but that's really not the corner itself, but it's the wall that's opposite the door, and that is diagonal to the door. But the actual corner, this is where I want you to activate, because this is the area where your eye is drawn to. If you go into any room, any office, any bedroom, where the furthest corner diagonal from the door is always considered the lucky corner. So what should you put there? Put in a tall lamp or put in a tall plant. I actually like tall plants because what that does is it symbolizes growth, but it's activating that corner because that's where all the energy, that's where the eye goes, and that's where all the energy goes. So put a pretty tall lamp there, a pretty vase, maybe even a pedestal with a vase or some flowers, but I like, my favorite is always going to be a tall lamp or a tall plant. Great way to activate that lucky corner. Lastly, get that water in front of you. Tip number 3 is all about getting that water in front of you. And that can be images of water. It could be ships sailing in. It could be waterfalls. But have something where you can see water. And that represents flow. And flow is income and opportunity. And that's what we're trying to stimulate for your office, or whether you're a home entrepreneur or you work in a corporate setting. This is what career feng shui is all about, is getting that flow going and seeing yourself as a success and climbing that career ladder, and also the ladder of success financially too, because we know that when you're doing good in your career and your business, you're growing financially as well. All right, there you go. We have 3 tips. We've got all kinds of good information today about how to enhance your office for good feng shui to help you grow this year. And that's what it's really about. And here we are in March. in 2022, and we've got the spring is here in the northern hemisphere, and it's a good time to be thinking about what you can do to grow and promote yourself this year. All right, have a great week. I'll talk to you on the next episode of 5 Minute Feng Shui. Hey, thanks for listening today. Although the year of the tiger is here, it's come in with a roar, and there's going to be some big ups and downs this year, like the invasion in Ukraine. But I wrote about Putin and some of the other world leaders in the Year of the Tiger Feng Shui Forecast and Success Pack. Now, back in 2021, when I was writing this in the fall, I could see this on the horizon and I warned about it. There's other things that you're going to want to know too, like where to invest your money, where to find love, and what to expect all year. And I cover all houses and bedroom directions and every zodiac sign. The Success Pack will help you be ready for the year, be prepared, make more money, and keep fortune on your side. Check out the Year of the Tiger Feng Shui Forecast at redlotusletter.com/water tiger, all one word.